Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Book 5 in the Heroes of Olympus book series by Rick Riordan, The Blood of Olympus. This is the 5th and final book of the Heroes of Olympus series. This is the 10th book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. I mean, technically you have the Demigod Files and you got the other small story collections thrown in between, but like, main book, main figurehead book, not side story books. 5th in the Heroes, 10th in the Percy, 10th in the Percy. This book is incredible, as all Rick's books are, but this is a perfect example of epilogue, in the sense of it still lives a little bit cliffhangy, but like it gives you closure on characters, and like we're happy about the closure of characters for the most part. We get a final, an oath to holds till the final breath of the last prophecy of the prophecy of 7. The Oracle of Delphi is no longer functional. So we have a lot of this is the second time I've read this book. I've only read this book once before. Now, for the record, I've never read a 500-page book in 5 days before. I wanted to test myself, and I wanted to see if I can do it in between work, in between things, right? If I got up super early and I read 100 pages before I started the day, would it be possible to focus and then actually understand the information? It is possible. So I did 100 pages a day. It's 502 pages of story plus the glossary. But like, bro, I did not expect to actually do it. So I found a trick. Here's a little trick. If you wake up as soon as you read, if you read as soon as you wake up, this works for me. My mind is still in like dream mode because like I'm still like trying to groggily get into the day, but like if I put on like Transformers compilation soundtrack, or like Pirates of the Caribbean compilation soundtrack, something like that, right, of just orchestral music of like action adventure, I'm put into the dreamscape because I'm still kind of there, but like I'm trying to get into the conscious realm, but my subconscious is still ruling. So like with this theory of getting up super early in the morning to then put music on to then read, it went really quick and I could focus. Like I've always been very fearful of my attention span just dying, as we've talked about in the last couple book reviews actually, but like that's me trying to read in the afternoon. So now I know I have to read in the morning before I actually fully wake up, and this actually helps me fully wake up. My mind is racing right now. What time is it? It is currently 9:40 in the morning as I am talking on this June 26th before I go off to work. Here I am finishing a book and talking about it. Okay, so this works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but this works for me. You should try it. So, Blood of Olympus, right? Whew. Like I said, I've only read this book once before, so I forgot a lot of this book, to be completely honest, and reading this book, knowing what happens in Trials of Apollo, it pained my soul reading in the very first bit of Jason's, perspective. As soon as the book starts, the kids of the Argo 2, the heroes of the Argo 2, the 7, are still in the Mediterranean, give or take, while Reyna, Nico, and Coach Hedge are taking the Athena Parthenos through shadow travel back to Camp Half-Blood before the Romans, led by Octavian, the idiot that he is, attacks Camp Half-Blood. And then they defend it, vice versa. So the kids, most of them are on the Argo 2. Jason and Piper and... was it somebody else? I feel like it was somebody else. Annabeth, maybe? They were, they had it, yeah, it was Annabeth. They were on this island, the island of Delphos, I think it was, where, what the hell was his name? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go to the glossary, because I don't want to, like, butcher names and stuff. What was... Delos, the island birthplace. No, it wasn't Delos. Where the hell did they go? Uranus? No, Uranus was a god. Peloponnese, no. Pelopian, Pelops, no. Deimos? Nope. Nope, that's the twin of fear. Penelope, queen of Ithaca. There we go, they went to Ithaca. And Odysseus' wife. So they visit the Odysseus, and there's the I was looking for, and the Penelope myth, the 100 suitors that were trying to woo Penelope on the island of Ithaca, as Odysseus was, lost for 20 years, something like that. So they're bringing this myth to light, and the ghosts and the Roman layers that are there are trying to wreak havoc yet again. But a old Roman praetor from Camp Jupiter, his mania is basically there, and he stabs Jason in the back, and there's a wound, and it's made of imperial gold, and the wound comes out through his front, and like we're in a will he live, will he die throughout half the story, and then he eventually heals himself. But like knowing that in the future books, because we're in the rereading process, right? Jason is stabbed through the back from a spear on a cruise ship. Who killed him? Caligula? Was it Caligula who killed him? One of the Roman emperors who are back to wreak havoc in the Trials of Apollo kills Jason, and then that gives the whole Jason speaking to Apollo, saying, "Remember what it's like to be human," and like I cried my eyes out. But I completely forgot that Jason gets stabbed through the back in the beginning of this book, and I'm like, oh my god, the foreshadowing is unheard of, that it's foreshadowed then. Many books later that he is eventually going to pass, and then that spurs the anger and frustration of many Romans and Greeks to then wreak havoc on the emperors and then save the day yet again. But like, bro, I did not remember it at all, and it was weird not remembering it. And you're like, holy shit, forgot. It's just amazing when things come back to you. So Nico, Reina, and Coach have their stories going on. The kids on the Argo 2 have the teens, the heroes have their story going on. So it's very one-in-one. Like, we get Nico perspective stories, we get Reina perspective stories, which are awesome. Then we have Jason, we have Leo, of course. Leo's incredible. We have Piper as well. I think that's it on the perspective. So it was really nice having on the Nico front, Nico perspective and Reina perspective. We get a lot of Reina backstory. We get to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and have a whole thing going on there with the hunter Orion facing off against the Amazons led by her sister Hyla and Talia Grace and the Hunters of Artemis. That's a big thing going on there, which is pretty cool, getting more backstory on Reina and why she is who she is and stuff like that. Trying to understand Nico trying to understand Reina, because they kind of need each other's strength to get the Athena Parthenos back to Camp Half-Blood. But in the process, Coach Hedge is freaking out because his wife Millie, the nymph that she is about to give birth. So like he needs to get back to Camp Half-Blood as Clarice is helping Millie along in the pregnancy. So it's very interesting. But then on the Roman Greek Argo 2 front, they're just like the other books, they have to go questing here to get an answer there, then meet this god here. They kidnap Nike, Victory, the Victory goddess, put her in the prison hall, which was pretty entertaining because they have to subdue her in order to get her somewhere. Artemis and Apollo are on Delos. Apollo gives a daisy in order to make the physician's cure. They have to meet Apollo's son, Acleos, I think is his name, who is the actual like medicine god. Like that's the symbol of medicine. Like the staff with the one snake is Acleus, not Hermes as everybody thinks, because Hermes has two snakes, but Acleus has one snake on the staff. Very confusing when we think about it further, but like that was cool having that conversation going on. Percy and Annabeth doing their thing and figuring out that they are the two that need to sacrifice the blood to wake Mother Earth, to wake Gaia. Things going on. We find out through Apollo that Zeus is going to blame Apollo for all of this because the Delphaic prophecy is no more. It's gone. So it's clearly Apollo's fault that all of this is happening with Mother Earth, and nobody else's fault, which then leads into the Trials of Apollo. This Trials of Apollo is a 5-book punishment for Apollo shutting off, unbeknownst to himself, mind you, the prophecy of Delphi. So like it's pretty interesting, again, leading into other stuff. We have Annabeth talking about her father's side of the family lives in Boston that she doesn't really talk to, leading into Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. I never picked up on these things when I first read it, and I didn't really need to because Trials of Apollo wasn't even announced when this book came out, and Magnus Chase is referenced at the end of this book, but like you didn't think when reading this book that Magnus is Annabeth's cousin. You never thought that. So like, I don't know, it was like brain blasts all around. The ending of which, of getting the Athena Parthenos back to Camp Half-Blood, was pretty intense. Octavian then eventually dying as a comet shooting up to Festus slash the Argo 2, killing Leo, but it was like kind of his plan all along as he conferred with Frank and Hazel to then go back to Ogygia to find Calypso, break her off the island, and go wherever, you know, they wanted to go. That was pretty cool. That was pretty romantic. Jason and Piper having cute romantic moments on the top of, you know, Cabin 1, looking at the stars. Frank being promoted to Praetor. Hazel being promoted to Centurion. And the, you know, Chiron and Reyna making announcements that the camps are working together. That, you know, there will be weekend trips and training crossovers and things like that. Pretty cool. Annabeth and Percy discussing how they're going to go to college in New Rome after they finish their senior year in New York. And then Nico being flabbergasted with his newfound flirtation of Wilf Solace on the battlefield at Camp Half-Blood. Awesome. And then confronting Percy, saying, I used to have a crush on you, but you're not my type. I see that now. And Percy getting flustered, and Annabeth giving him a smirk and a high five. I peed my pants. Bro, I did not understand how hysterical that moment was. Again, leading into Trials of Apollo, seeing Nico and Will actually together. Awesome. So that's why I really love this book, because it shows a lot of closure, but it also shows a lot of what happens next without us even realizing what happens next. Frank and Hazel are a big thing, right? You know, that's a big thing moving forward. You know, Reyna still a Praetor, a big thing moving forward. Annabeth and Percy get the break that they finally deserve, but like they pop up here and there in Magnus and Trials of Apollo, and like the whole thing with Jason, very upsetting, and Piper having to deal with his death, but she has a girlfriend at this point. Talia, the last time we see her is in Puerto Rico. We don't know if she's still alive, but like Orion says she's still alive. But can we understand Apollo? Not Apollo, Orion. Can we believe Orion that Hyla and Talia and the Hunters of Artemis and the Amazonians are still alive? Who knows? But we know that Talia is alive because we see her in Trials of Apollo. So like, reading the books again is important. I think this is the point of me rambling for however long I've been rambling. I don't even know. Reading books again is important because you pick up on things that you've never seen before. It's the same concept as watching a TV show over and over and over again, or a movie over and over and over again. You pick up on these little subtle hints that you never would have thought of twice before, you know, actually looking at it. And reading a book that I haven't read since 2014, that was what, 7 years ago. I had not read this book in 7 years. Granted, there's been a shit ton of other things I've read and we've talked about, but like this specific book, this 502 pages plus a glossary that I read in 5 days, and I'm very proud of myself for it, pat myself on the back, is important because it shows me so much stuff moving forward within Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard trilogy and the Trials of Apollo 5-book series. So, I know we've talked about the last 3 Trials of Apollo book series. We haven't talked about the first 2, because honestly I wasn't doing reviews at that point, which I find weird, but like, we're going to read the next 3 Magnus Chase books, talk about those. I have to see if there's a Hotel Valhalla shirt, because I have a Camp Half-Blood shirt, I have a Camp Jupiter shirt. I don't have a Hotel Valhalla shirt. I don't even remember if there was specific Hotel Valhalla shirts. I have to look into that. So then I can review in my honors garb, of course. But yes, and then we'll talk about Trials of Apollo, then we'll jump back into the Rick Riordan Presents books, and then some comics, and we'll see where we are within the year. Yeah, within work and stuff. So, good times, good talk. I can't believe we've talked about these books for so long. It's been a long time, going back to The Lightning Thief. Just talking about all these things, absorbing all of this information, which obviously makes us smarter and cooler than everybody else. One of my questions, right, anytime a guy is trying to flirt with me, I always feel like Nico in certain situations, because like, I could say to someone, oh, you're not my type, and they're just flabbergasted, like, how could I not be your type, right? And the question that always is a yay or nay kind of thing is, without fail, what is Poseidon's Roman form? If they don't know the answer, they're not my type. It's as simple as that. It's not brain surgery. It's as simple as that. I don't care if they're pro-Roman or pro-Greek. The question is, what is Poseidon's Roman form? And it's hysterical because it tricks people in like, why would he care Because I don't give a shit really what you look like. I need to know if we can actually have a conversation. Uh, yeah, good times. Um, Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan came out in 2014. One of the best books in the best franchise ever written, hands down. That's all I got. Mucho mahalo.